My guest today is a French-born fashion industry veteran turned holistic postpartum and lactation specialist. After years working in high luxury fashion in Paris and a transformative move to California, she founded Sisterhood, an integrative postpartum and motherhood support practice combining Ayurvedic care, lactation consultation, and yoga-based healing. I'm pregnancy-focused chiropractor Dr. Elliot Berlin, and you're listening to the Informed Pregnancy Podcast. Margot Del Rey, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so honored to have you not only on the podcast, but also more recently at our practice, offering your incredibly nurturing and restorative services and care. We'll get into that in a moment. Let's start at the beginning. Where are you from originally?
So I'm from France. I was born and raised in the suburb of Paris, and I spent all of my childhood there and like a lot of my adulthood too.
Whenever I hear you talk or you talk to me, I get hungry for pastries right away. All it takes is the accent.
Yeah, it's all the croissant, right?
Oh, I'm going to need a minute. Okay, so France, and what was your aspiration growing up? Like when I grow up, I want to.
When I wanted to be a dancer, a singer, and the person who replaces singers and dancer when they're sick.
Oh, an understudy?
Yeah,
Okay,
probably.
so you sing and dance?
I do sing. I don't really dance.
Okay, we have something in common. I can sing, but nobody wants to see me dance, including me. Okay, so singer and dancer, but that's not what you ended up doing. So what was the actual trajectory?
So I don't really know. I mean, I do know actually. I went to New York to follow my high school boyfriend, who's today my husband.
Oh wow, you stuck with it.
Yes, I did stuck with it. And in New York, I started learning English. I didn't know how to speak English at all. I had a very strong French accent. And my English school was right next to the FIT, so the Fashion Institute and Technology in New York.
Right.
And I would see like all of those cool girls like coming out of this big building, and I wanted what they had, like just this energy. And so I peaked and I actually did a certificate course there. And that was the start of my fashion career. When I came back to France, to Paris, 6 months after that, I did fashion school. And I actually did it only for a year. I dropped out because I had an amazing opportunity to work at Saint Laurent, like in the middle of my school years.
Wow, that's amazing. So you didn't even have to finish school. You just jump right into the field.
I did, yeah.
How many years ago was that?
I was very young. I was probably 22
22
year
years ago.
old. So
Okay, you
like,
still have a strong French accent, but your English is very good too.
thank you.
So how long did you stay in fashion?
I stayed in fashion for about 8 years, 7 years.
You liked it?
I loved it. I loved it. It was very fun. It was very artistic. Like I loved the energy of it until it became a nightmare. It was very hard. People are very stressed and it's a very high demanding industry. I was working long hours. And when my boyfriend, the same one at the time, starting like jumping on his own venture and traveling to San Francisco, he was coming back and forth. So like he was going to San Francisco and then coming back to Paris. And every time he was coming was Fashion Week. And so during Fashion Week, when you work in fashion, you're just working almost 24/7.
Yeah, not available.
So I could never see him. And we did it for probably 9 months. And then one day, like in the middle of a meeting, like, trying to pick a fabric for the show, I just quit on the spot. I was like, I'm done. I called my husband, I mean, my boyfriend at the time, and I told him, okay, I just quit. I'm coming to San Francisco. And he was like, well, we don't have visa. I didn't raise any money. Like, how are we going to do that?
Oh, for his new startup that he was working on.
Yes.
Wait, is he French also?
He is French also.
Right. Okay. So neither one of you had visas. So you're living in San Francisco without jobs, without permanence, just
He
living
was
on.
he was just traveling back and forth. So like on a travel visa. And I was still in Paris at that time, not even following him. But when he came back the last time, I told him we're getting married and you need to raise money, do something. And that's what he did. And the fact that he raised money allowed us to get a permanent visa at that time.
Nice. Okay. And did you have any idea what you would do next? Were you still thinking fashion in the US or done with fashion?
I was thinking fashion in the US, but in San Francisco, there is less companies, I mean, less fashion houses than in Paris. And I also wanted to just, think about what I wanted to do next. So I started just like helping their company, so my husband company, like a lot on the side. And I started writing. I've always wanted to tell stories and I've always written women's stories. So I just started writing fiction for myself and I enjoyed it. And I was like, I don't really need to work now. Let's wait 6 months and let's see where this writing takes us.
You mean to maybe make a career out of it?
At that time, yes, maybe.
So I think everything's creative. Singing, dancing, fashion, design, writing. You're creative by nature.
Yeah, yeah, everything is kind of connected. Yeah.
What happened next?
So next, the company decided to move to LA. They pivoted and then they were creating something that was closer to the entertainment industry. So we all moved to LA. We have a big house in Beverly Hills where we host lots of fun parties with tech people and people from the entertainment. And I'm still looking for a job in fashion, and there are more opportunities here in LA. But the CEO of the company, who became our best friend, asks me if I want to work with him instead and just, be the office manager and his assistant and just like help him with everything. And that's pretty much what I was doing anyway without being paid.
Oh,
So
so why not?
so why not? So I said yes. And, when one moves to LA, they need to do yoga. So yeah, I also started just going to yoga a lot and I signed up for a yoga teacher training at the same time.
Interesting. So I mean, the young living in France, working in the very demanding fashion industry lifestyle is not the healthiest in any way, shape, or form.
Not at all. I was very gray, smoking a lot, drinking a lot, and it was the opposite of the lifestyle I had in LA after.
All right. So you come to LA and then you stop smoking and drinking and start yoga instead?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big shift.
It is a big shift.
I mean, did you feel the difference pretty quick?
I mean, when the body becomes healthy, that's when it can become pregnant. So that's what
Oh,
happened.
okay. Why don't we take a little break? We'll be right back for the next chapter of this interesting story. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We're talking to Margot Del Rey. Okay, so from the I quit fashion and I'm going to wing it in San Francisco, then moving to Los Angeles with the company and a big lifestyle change. You decide to get healthy, no more smoking, no more drinking, not only taking yoga, but starting to teach yoga. And of course, you find out you're pregnant. Was it something on your radar to get pregnant?
So it was on my radar at the end of my career in Paris. So before my husband left, I was working at Louis Vuitton, and Louis Vuitton is like kind of the highest in the industry. And I was comfortable, and I was like, if I'm working there, like I want to just stay there and have kids there. That wasn't my husband's plan. He flew away in San Francisco instead. But I've always felt like I was a mom, and he was never ready. He thought, we needed more money, more space. So when it happened, I kind of freaked out, but I told him right away, and he was the happiest person on earth.
Ah,
It was like, why did we wait that long?
ah.
So yeah, it
How
was
long
a
ago was
very
that?
good surprise. It was like probably like, yeah, we were like 10 years together and like 6 months in LA.
Right. How long ago, looking back?
Oh, 7 years. I
7 years ago.
7.5. My son just turned 7 years old.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Okay, so did you have a plan, a vision for the birth?
So I wanted an unmedicated birth in the hospital. I hired a doula. I don't even know how I heard about doulas because in France, we have midwives in the hospital, and midwives kind of do the job of doulas and lactation like a little different, but they are a lot of like, they're great support. So I don't really know how I heard of a doula, probably from a book I read.
Also, but
Um,
the unmedicated birth, which seems to me like through the people that come through my office, more common in Europeans. Is that
yes.
something that you always knew? Like, I just want to do this on my own steam, or where did that come from?
I think because of yoga, because it's not what my mother and sister had done. My mom had two C-section, very traumatic. My sister like went to the hospital at the epidural. She said like she pushed like her baby like very fast and it went okay. But in France, or at least in my family, but like in France, I feel we don't really talk about birth. Like I've never known like how my sister birthed like her babies before being pregnant myself.
Yeah, I'm not sure we talk about it much here either. In fact, I
Yeah.
think most people's exposure to birth for the first time is when they give birth,
Mm,
or what they see in TV, movies, and newspaper headlines, which is not the best education.
yes.
So you want an unmedicated birth, you're doing yoga throughout your pregnancy. You want to do it at a hospital with a medical doctor?
Yeah. Yeah. I want a medical doctor. I want to do it at a hospital. I don't have any family here. And my mom is pretty stressed. And I want to feel the safest I can be. So for me at that time, the hospital seems safe.
Okay, so how did you prepare for that?
I did yoga. I went to my doula classes, and that's pretty much it. I read like probably one book, and now I feel like, I didn't really prepare.
Well, so it didn't go that way. How did it actually go down?
So my 40th week, I've been told, I mean, my entire pregnancy, I've been told that my baby was big and that, this might be a problem for birth. And on my 40th week, like baby is showing really big. And I've been told I was pretty small and I had a lot of water. So that baby was floating around and that, he wasn't engaged. And there was like very low chances that I could give birth vaginally. And they suggest that I get induced at week 41 or that I can come in tomorrow for a like scheduled C-section. And so I come back home with that information and
Or
I
this is
call
at week 40 you made it
week
to?
40.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you get to 40 weeks, the baby's not dropping or engaging, your fluid's on the higher side, the baby's on the bigger side. So for just those reasons, there's no signs of distress or anything, just those reasons like we got two options for you. Wait up to another week and get induced or just
Yeah. Get induced in another week or just give birth tomorrow through surgery.
Cesarean. Okay. Well, that's an interesting lot of choices. How did you process that information and what did you decide to do?
So it was like I didn't expect that at all. And I called my mom to have her thoughts. And she said, like she was induced twice, and both inductions led to C-sections that were very traumatic. And she said, please take the C-section.
Oh, she was worried about you getting induced.
Yeah, she was worried about me getting induced and me being here across the ocean.
Uh-huh. And having an emergency cesarean birth.
Yeah. And so her fear goes right through me, and I take it as my own. And I'm calling my doula and I'm like, okay, I guess we're having a baby tomorrow. And from the moment I chose that, like it was an exciting time. It was Halloween night. We put candy out. We went to bed early. I shaved my legs. I did my hair. Like it was fun. Like I was happy to go to the hospital at 4 a.m. to get that surgery.
Okay.
But things went completely differently. My baby wasn't ready at all.
Wasn't ready. I mean, you were just doing a cesarean, right? So
Yeah.
what do you mean the baby wasn't ready?
So first I did the surgery, and I started like shaking extremely bad
During
and
the
feel
surgery while you were
during the surgery.
on the table, open
Yeah. I had both arms strapped,
by choice,
and
or would they just do that?
no, it was
Okay.
just what it was. And I was extremely cold, and my body was just feeling wrong. And I completely dissociated. At that time, I didn't know, but I got sexual abused like a lot of years ago. And this brought everything back.
I'm so sorry. Um,
Thank you. And my
w-
husband was scared. He was like seeing me shaking, asking if it was normal. They were telling him everything was normal. And then baby comes out. He cries right away. So I kind of feel a relief, but then there is no baby on me. So it's such a weird feeling. Like I know my baby's here, but I don't know where he is. And suddenly my husband like leave my side and goes with baby. And I'm here by myself, like nobody tells me anything. And it might have been like a few minutes, but it feels very long. And then they bring baby. And when baby's on me, I feel great until they take me to the recovery room. And I have my baby on me, and I feel shaky and I feel very weak. And my vision gets blurry and I feel cold. And I tell my husband, I feel like I'm leaving my body. So a nurse hear me talk, and she's like, coming to me and like seeing I'm very pale. And she's pressing on my belly, and there is a huge clot that
oh
comes
no.
out. And within 10 seconds, there is 4 other nurses that come in and a doctor, and they try to remove the clot, and I'm hemorrhaging in this recovery room.
Wow.
And I feel every single thing. It's very painful. And they give me like a drug that makes me so high. Like I can still feel every single thing, but I'm just out of it. So it's a lot of dissociation. And at the same time, they take my baby away, and my husband leaves, and there is just me and the doctors in the room. I don't know where my baby and my husband is. I don't know what happens next. What I know is that I wake up in a room by myself with no baby, no husband, no doctor.
Oh my goodness.
And so I call someone, and someone comes, and she says that my baby is at the nursery. And I say that I don't want my baby in the nursery, that I want my baby with me, like what my baby is doing in the nursery. And then my husband comes right through the door. And he says there's something wrong with our baby, but like, I don't understand. It's like I gave birth to this baby, but I don't know where it is. I don't even like remember his face. Like, it's such a weird feeling. And then they bring him back, and I try to breastfeed, and he's all red and breathing very weird. And I've never like held a newborn that young before, but I feel that something is wrong. So we call the nurse, and that's when they take him to the NICU. He can't breathe by himself, so he's just plugged in machines. And I'm on the other floor just trying to pump, but I have lost a lot of blood, and so I can't keep up with what he needs to eat because he is actually a big baby.
Um, First of all, sometimes a cesarean goes just fine.
Yeah.
And we do have an episode of our podcast, number 48, on the gentle cesarean, sort of how to have the best cesarean birth and what informed cesarean birth and try to make the best experience out of it. But sometimes it goes just fine. Yours did not. And I wonder if when you had to make that decision, you even really knew all the things, pros and cons of the two choices in front of you. And it makes perfect sense that without that information and with the fear from your mom, this would be the choice you make. But it sounds like, and I'm not even sure, I don't know if you want to get into it, but I'm not even sure how the cesarean, was it because you gave up so much control that it brought back haunts from your sexual abuse in the past? Or, I mean, because I guess in some ways you would expect that more to be with a vaginal birth.
So, what happened to me years ago was that I had my boyfriend come through my window. It was my boyfriend that sexually abused me. And that night was very cold. And he abused me, and then he left, and he left the window open. So I was left shaking all night. And I guess that the feeling of being cold and being so shaky and shocked brought everything back in my body. And that's something I forgot. I did write about it during those years. I was writing, and I had no idea I was writing about myself until this birth.
Wow. So that does make sense. It sounds really scary and crummy, and I'm so sorry that happened to you, both with your boyfriend and then as, coming back to you during your cesarean birth. It was supposed to be like the sort
Yeah.
of most dramatically happy time in life. And all the complications that followed, I think postpartum is generally a rocky period to begin with. And with all the things you had going on, even a more challenging time, more radical transition. And you're like the nicest, kindest, sweetest person. You should have the exact opposite experience. I'm really sorry it didn't go well for you.
Thank you.
Um, I can only imagine that this experience has contributed to the work that you do now.
Yeah, it did. It really did. Like, it left me really raw. And when I came back home, it was just us. I mean, we came back home 7 days after everything. My son came back home one day after us. And it was a happy day when we were all at home, just the three of us, but we didn't have any support. My parents came for 2 weeks after birth, and they were helping, but it was just like lots of trauma, and we didn't know what we were doing, and I was exhausting, and I was depleted, and I felt like this shouldn't be like that for anyone.
So I wonder, in your own situation, how did you start to pull out of that, recover from that? And then how did that lead to what you do now to help other people?
So about 4 months after the birth, I started going back to teaching yoga just because I wanted community, and I didn't have childcare. My friends didn't have children at that time. They were still partying, drinking, and all the things. So I would come to class with my son in the carrier and teach classes with him.
Oh, cool.
And after maybe just a month of going back to teaching, I felt that moms needed more and I needed more. I needed more intimate space and just more discussion, not only movement. So I took the class to my apartment in Mar Vista, and I made it a 2 hours class that was 1 hour yoga and 1 hour circle, where we could discuss the challenges and the wins of being young mothers. And after probably a couple of weeks, like they kind of started texting me with questions about feeding and is it normal that my baby is doing this? Is it normal that I'm feeling like that? And I didn't know anything. I mean, I was just a mom like them. So I started researching and finding resources for them. And I loved it. I loved finding solution or like tricks that, could make people feel better. And I reached out to my doula and I asked her if she could recommend a doula training. And so that's when I started training to become a doula and a postpartum doula.
And somewhere along the line, you added more services.
Yeah. Yeah. I added more, like every time I felt like I was missing something, I went back to school or I went back to another training. I'm very curious and I love knowing more things and I love supporting people. So it's after the birth of my daughter that I felt I really needed more, and that I learned lactation and that I learned more about Ayurveda and body work. And I'm going back to school next year to become a CMT. So it's another layer.
Oh, wow. Incredible. I would like to talk about your second birth. And, obviously, there are some things you learned after the first one, both for you and even making a profession out of it. I'm curious, given the opportunity to do it again, what you did differently. Let's take a little break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the podcast. We're talking to Margot Del Rey. And after a very challenging, somewhat elective cesarean birth with the first baby and a challenging birth experience, a challenging postpartum experience, you really sought out resources for yourself and then started to build up this arsenal of a tool belt of things that you can use to help people have better transitions around childbirth. As I mentioned, you now offer Abhyanga here, Ayurvedic bodywork at our practice. I've never had Abhyanga, but I've had the delight of spending 25 minutes with you now and again, and just being around you is therapeutic. So I'm sure Abhyanga is amazing in general, but I think the practitioner makes a big difference. And I see people come out of the room after your hour-long treatment, and they look like they just walked out of the womb. And people tell me they're like in a cloud for 2 hours afterwards, a heavenly little cloud, just feeling great physically, spiritually, and mentally. So it's a real gift what
I
you
mean,
do. Before the break, we mentioned that you now have another baby. So was the second pregnancy a surprise as well?
it was not. I thought I only wanted one child for 4 years. And I woke up one morning and I wanted another one. And we were aligned on that one with my husband. So we tried and we got pregnant. And I learned I was pregnant on a trip in Paris by myself with my son. And I felt terrible. I felt like this baby wasn't supposed to be here. It was very, very weird. And 10 weeks after that, I had a miscarriage.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So it was really painful. But like before that, I learned so much about postpartum care that when I had that miscarriage, I treated myself as I was postpartum. And I took 2 weeks off of everything and I took care of myself like I never did before.
Wow. What kind of
And
things?
I cooked for myself. I nourished myself. I called my friends. They dropped foods. They took care of my son. I did Abhyanga. I did Reiki. I did a lot of therapy, a lot of meditation, and I slept a lot. And after those 2 weeks, I felt like I was healed. I felt this was my postpartum from my first birth. And that's what I needed to be able to
Oh, wow.
create that second human.
Sort of did a redo on postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Do you know what changed when you woke up one day and felt like I'm ready for another baby?
I have no idea. I do remember like really waking up that day and be like, I feel her. And I knew she was a her and I knew her name. And it was very strange. And I sat down with my husband. I was like, I want another baby, like today, you know?
Wow.
And yeah, it was very, very strange. Like I felt her.
After the postpartum done right, I guess, were you ready to try again?
Yes. And we got pregnant in 2 cycles. And that time it felt wonderful. It felt right. I was very nauseous, but happy. And it was a great pregnancy. And for some reason, I went with the same doctor that I had the
Oh, really?
C-section with.
Okay.
Yeah. But I had a different doula, and she was asking a lot of questions. And so she asked me, like, why do you feel you need to go with that same doctor? And I guess I liked the practice. I liked the material they had there. And like, I trusted that it was kind of like they would see if something was wrong with the baby. So that was reassuring to me. But my doula suggested to do co-care with midwives. And at that point, I really felt like I needed to have all the people I could around me so I could get the VBAC I wanted.
Okay, so was the plan when you say co-care, meaning midwives and obstetrician?
Yes,
The same obstetrician?
the same one. Yeah.
Okay. Then was the plan to deliver at home or at the hospital or to just wait and see and have your bases covered because you had both types of provider?
At the hospital, but I was open to change my mind.
Okay. How did that labor start?
So at 35 weeks, I stopped seeing my OB.
Oh, so you did change your mind.
I did change my mind.
Okay. How did
And
that labor start?
so my water broke in the middle of the night. I was 38 weeks.
Okay, already different.
Yeah, so different. And so from 35 weeks to 38 weeks, we were now planning a home birth. Like we were
Not a
sure
lot of
that
a lot of time.
a
Okay.
lot of change. Yeah. And so my water broke in the middle of the night. I'm so happy, like insanely happy, like laughing and crying. And I text my doula and she's like, go back to sleep, put a diaper on, go back to sleep. But it's like the rush of endorphins from just like, being happy and like, I couldn't wait to just like have that birth. I couldn't go back to sleep. I tried and my
I could see how
husband,
that would be challenging.
yeah. But my husband was like, yeah, go back to sleep, listen to her. So I go back to sleep. I have some contractions, but nothing too painful or too uncomfortable. And then I wake up in the morning and no more contractions.
Oh, they're gone.
They're gone. And so I'm not happy anymore. And so I call my midwives, my doula, and they're like, okay, do some yoga, go on a hike, nourish yourself, hydrate. So that's what I do. I go on a hike and I send pictures to my mom who is freaking out. She's like, my daughter just like her water broke and she's hiking in Topanga. Like that doesn't seem safe. but I'm very happy and I'm feeling great. As I walk, contraction comes back. They're not uncomfortable. They're not painful. And then it's night again. And I go back to sleep. And in the middle of the night, I'm woken up by more contractions and they're stronger. They're stronger. They kind of have a rhythm. And so we call our doula, and she said, as long as you're still in the bed and still talking to me, you go back to sleep. So just deep breath and try to go back to sleep. So I do that, and it's a little more challenging than the previous night. And when I wake up, it's stopped again.
Oh, wow.
And I don't accept that it's the daytime. I wear my eye mask and I stay in my bedroom and I try to walk and do yoga and try to trick myself. But my midwives come up to my house and they say, okay, it's been 48 hours since your
Oh,
water,
right. Yeah.
has broken now. And you are contracting, but it's not regular. Let's take your temperature. And I have a little temperature, so it's not high, but I'm a little too warm for what they would like me to be.
Outside the comfort zone.
Yeah. So they call my backup OB, who is not the previous OB,
Okay.
but who's this incredible rock star OB that I love. And she says, you know what? Just come to the hospital and I promise you we'll try to have you have a home birth in the hospital. And I feel some grief. I also feel like at that point, my son has been at a friend for 2 days and I want to see him as quick as I can. So I do go to the hospital. And when I enter the labor and delivery floor at the hospital, I feel like Beyonce. Like they're not even asking for anything. They're like, here's your room, just go in. We know you don't want the epidural. We know you don't want to be disturbed. So just do yourself, like
Wow.
do whatever you need to do. Like, we won't interrupt you. And they start me on a little bit of Pitocin. That was the deal, just to get things to pick up a
Again,
little bit.
because your water's been broken, you're spiking a little fever. There is some sort of a clock, I guess, ticking.
Yes, a little bit. So I get started on a little bit of Pitocin and my body is responding so well. So I'm contracting, I have a rhythm, it gets more intense. It's kind of a party in there. Like I'm dancing and music is loud and it's just like all I dreamt of, except I'm not at home, but I'm still very happy. And things progress quite fast. And we arrive at the hospital at probably 1 p.m. And around midnight, I feel like contractions are really, really strong. And I feel like I think what is transitioning. And they bring the doctor in and they're checking me, and I'm 2 centimeters.
Oh, no. Oh, my. Okay.
So I tell my husband, I need the epidural. And he's like, are you sure? And I'm like, if I tell you I need it, like, yes, I am sure. I know I want a VBAC and I need to save energy. It's been 3 days. So they give me the epidural. I want the lowest amount they can give me. And I go in bed and I sleep. And I wake up at 6 a.m. I call my mom because she hasn't had any news for like almost 3 days. And while I'm on the phone, contractions start to really get stronger and I feel the urge to push.
Oh, wow. How
Okay.
much time had elapsed?
It was probably I think 4 to 6 hours after the epidural.
Okay.
And so my husband is texting the midwife, the doula, the doctor, like, bringing everybody back. And it's getting intense, and I'm breathing through it. And I'm really, really, really feeling that pressure. And when the doctor come in, she says she sees the head.
Whoa. Okay.
So we are here, and she's like, it's time to go. And my doula like doesn't even make it for the first push. Like, she's running
Oh my.
through the hospital door. And yeah, and in 30 minutes, my daughter comes out, and she's not crying right away. She just like comes, and after some seconds, she just like scream very loud and then chill. And I did it, and I felt like so complete. And the first thing I said was, whoa, I could do this 6 more times.
Wow. Wow. I'm so happy for you. I know it wasn't all that recent, but still, I
Yeah.
can feel the energy coming out of you. And still, I would say congratulations. I know
Thank
that's
you.
your vision and you put a lot of work into it. And also, it just, it must have been hard at points to keep your faith up as things were taking longer and longer. The clock was ticking, fever started, you weren't progressing, you know.
Yeah.
I love that you knew that you needed and wanted an epidural at the time and, got it with confidence, knowing that was the right move for you and seemingly did the trick for you.
Yeah. I felt it was about surrendering and feeling what was best in the moment, and not being scared of pivoting if that's what was needed.
How was your postpartum experience after that birth?
It was incredible. I had an amazing postpartum doula who was my midwife. So she knew me, and she's a friend. And it was so dreamy. And my friend put together a meal train. I didn't have to cook for 6 weeks. And my parents came and helped. I felt held. I healed very quickly. Breastfeeding went so well. And my son was an amazing big brother, like since the beginning. So, yeah, it was just like everything I dreamt of.
That's so beautiful. I'm so happy for you. Before we wrap up, so now at this moment, you're studying massage therapy too. But at this moment, you offer lactation consulting.
Yes.
You're an Ayurvedic postpartum doula.
Yes.
Does that include cooking?
It does include cooking.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
And then also you do Ayurvedic body work, Abhyanga. For someone who's in Los Angeles in an earshot, can you describe the Abhyanga session?
Of course. So in home or in office, it's a warm oil ointment. So I use sesame oil and castor oil, and it's a full body experience. It's choreographed sequence strokes. So it's always the same choreography for every single body. I don't assess, I just trust the choreography and the oil. And it's not deep like a massage. I don't go into deep tissue. I just stay in the surface so your nervous system can reset. And it's an hour long. And usually after the hour, like when you get up, like you do really feel like your nervous system got a reset. You feel grounded and replenished. It's such a magical work that I discovered during my postpartum healing. And I felt it's the most powerful thing that you could do postpartum.
And that's exactly how people are describing it after your session. It sounds really, really cool. Yeah, like you're working on the body, but it's not about releasing necessarily the muscles and the bones. So it's somehow rebalancing the mind, body, and spirit. And also, because you've been doing it for people before birth, postpartum, during the fertility journeys, I've heard a couple of people sort of express it like this, that they're after you work on them, they have a sort of a clearer communication with their inner voice, and they're better able to trust their bodies and the guidance from inside.
That's
instead of all the noise
beautiful.
on the outside.
Yeah, exactly. It's about coming home to your body. So it's about like just resetting everything and kind of shutting down the outside noises so you can really feel like you're home and in peace in your body.
Margot, thank you so much for sharing and for the work that you do. Where can we find you online?
So I'm with Sisterhood on Instagram, and my website is withsisterhood.com.
Incredible. Thank you for joining me in at home. Thanks for listening to the Informed Pregnancy podcast. For more pregnancy and parenting information just like this, visit us online at informedpregnancy.com.
Doctor, give me the news. I got a hold